Hi, I'm Malini. Have you ever had one of those years where many amazing things happened? I did. Well, some things kind of sucked that year, but gosh, there were some really high points. And among the many amazing things that happened was being interviewed a few times. It was pretty special to be interviewed by clever, awesome people and asked wonderful, insightful questions. It was such an honor. Each time, I answered their questions as best I could, and then I shared the interview on social media. And each time, the response I received was generous, because people are basically nice. Even though they could be forgiven for rolling their eyes. Why? Well, one of the interviews is part of a series called She's So Inspiring. And when you're one of the featured inspirers, it presents kind of an irresistible opportunity. And being Australian, that opportunity is to poke fun at yourself. So I thought, why don't I do another interview? This one presents the less than shiny version of me. And I'm interviewing myself. Yep, you're about to get an in-depth look at the voices in my head. Here goes. Malini, thank you for doing this interview. I'm curious, what would you say is your greatest weakness? I think I love a bit too deeply. Oh my, that sounds juicy. Can you tell us about the greatest love you've ever experienced? Sure, it's actually my favorite subject. I could talk about my greatest love for hours. In fact, I'm head over heels in love. Do tell. I'm deeply in love with food. I think eating is the most awesome, pleasurable activity ever, and I do it at every opportunity. Thankfully, it's still legal. Now, you run a fairly successful business from home. You must have an awesome routine that helps you get stuff done. Tell us about it. I spend most of my day on my bed. Oh, really? In bed? But surely you don't sleep all day. No, only part of it. A good part of it, actually. No, seriously, I run my office from my laptop and I do that on my bed. Often in my pajamas. I make a little nest of my pillows and it's just so comfy. I think desks are boring and a bit grown up and serious. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that life is short. Beds are our friends. We need to spend more time with them, in them, on them, around them. But being an artist, you must have a wonderful studio. Surely you don't paint in bed? Yes, of course I have a studio. The thing is, it's often just so full of stuff. And when it gets a bit crowded, I spread out all over my house, lounge, kitchen, bedroom, kitchen table, wherever there's space. So of course I don't paint in bed. I'm not completely feral. But come to think of it, it would be so comfortable. Okay. Readers love to hear tips from others on time management and productivity. Why don't you tell us how you structure your day? I don't. Right. Moving along then. Why don't you tell us about your favorite pastime? As an artist, you must love going to the theater, to museums, all those fancy gallery openings. Actually, I just love lying in bed. And it's not that I'm lazy. In fact, I spend my time in bed really well. Lately, I've rewatched Firefly and Downton Abbey and House, and I'll soon probably drag out the whole box set we own of West Wing. So you see, my time in bed is educational. I learn heaps about science and history and medicine and politics. Okay, now you've often been called inspiring. Your readers would be interested to know how you developed your best qualities. For example, fearlessness. How did you conquer your fears? I haven't. I'm afraid all the time. I'm afraid right now. What do you mean? Why? Well, you have to admit, you are a bit scary. Malini, I'm sure we could all benefit from your sage advice. Can you share your most memorable moment and what you learned this year? Well, I've had quite a few memorable moments this year, but a recent one that stands out was when I took myself off to Target to buy some underwear. Stay with me. You see, my underwear was getting to that pathetic, I'm an old rag with no elasticity and I might fall right off you stage. So it was time to get some new undies. Unfortunately, I couldn't find some suitable ones at Target, as I'm quite particular about my underwear. They have to be super comfortable and cover my generous bottom generously. I'm definitely not into the teeny tiny, lacy, pointless variety. They ride up into places they shouldn't be and...
Hey, way too much information.
Oh, sorry. Well, I couldn't find any comfy undies that day, so I eventually gave up trying. And then I found myself wandering over to the women's clothing section and picking up a dress that had some potential. I held it up against myself and I checked out my reflection in the mirror that was right there. Now, just to be clear, at this point I was standing in the middle of Target, not in the change room. I wasn't behind closed doors. And that's when I had the memorable experience.
Oh, really? Did you have a life-changing epiphany?
Well, this is what I saw in the mirror. My dress, the one that I was actually wearing, had fallen off me. It was a string top dress and the string had worked its way loose and had come undone, so the dress had just slid right off. All I could do was gather it up around my waist and hold tight my waist and march out of the store with my head held high and thanking my lucky stars that I was wearing underwear that day.
Not quite the inspiring tale that I'd hoped for. Perhaps we can finish up this interview with something useful for your viewers. What's the best advice that you can give them?
When you go to Target, don't forget to wear underwear.
Okay, I think we'll leave it there. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. I hope you enjoyed that little bit of fun. I'm Malini, and that was my story. Hi folks, I'm Malini Parker. If you liked my story, there are two things you can do right now to hear more. You can click on this button to subscribe to my channel, and I'll keep telling you stories. You can also head over to my website and sign up for my updates, so you'll get goodness delivered straight to your inbox every month. Just click on the link here. Everything I do and teach is about living a more creative life, and I'd love for you to join me.